Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Pro Product Guru again. This video we are talking about a product design question, and the question is how will you improve Facebook Marketplace? I will be asking this question to a senior PM in a company, in a tech company, and we'll see what the response is. If you like it, please like, comment, and share. Improve a Facebook marketplace.
No, I've not done it before.
Okay, we can go for it.
Okay. All right. So how to improve Facebook Marketplace? Okay. All right. Thank you for your question. So I have a few, at least one or two clarifying questions here. So can you give me more details on what does improve really mean?
So improvement means from the product angle. So think about that. You got the PM on the meta side, and you have to think about from like what is the user experience right now, and from the user experience, what are some of the problems that the current user are facing.
Okay.
And then
So
from there, you can decide whether we need to improve on the user
what do you mean?
experience or we need to make any product changes,
Okay.
or whether should we focus on like adoption, increasing users, or monetization, or something. Up to
Okay.
you.
Okay, up to me. So, do we have any kind of data that tells us that we need to like on all of these points that you touched? No, it's all
There's no,
open.
yeah, it's all open.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So, what I'm gonna do now, and just for my clarification, just so that I understand what Facebook Marketplace is, and we can clarify this if I am incorrect. Facebook Marketplace is a peer-to-peer uh, transaction, a channel in Facebook where people basically put their used items for sale, and other people go and buy them basically, and then there's some kind of transaction that happens. And
Yeah, so
it's
it's basically people uploading items or photos,
yeah,
and people basically liking those and chatting with the seller.
right.
Yeah, that and sharing as well.
Right, right. So yeah, so you upload what you want to sell, and then people connect with you, and then if they agree on it, they basically transact, and then you
Yes,
buy the good and pay them the money or whatever.
correct.
Really works. Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, so the way I'm gonna approach this problem, I am going to be first reiterating Meta's mission and how Facebook Marketplace makes sense as a product. Uh, then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna loudly call out the product, the Facebook Marketplace mission based on what Meta's mission is, and from there we'll look into different users that are involved here in the Facebook Marketplace, and then potentially narrow down on some of the user segments, and then from there I'll look into the pain points of what are those some of the pain points that those users might have, and then narrow down on potentially one or two pain points, and then come up with some solution. Okay, so this is how I'm planning to
Okay,
approach. Does
sounds
that
good.
make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Meta's mission is to connect people all over the world, help them form a community. And then as far as Facebook Marketplace is concerned, as we just talked about, this is where people can form community around basically buying and selling goods, which makes sense. I mean, somebody's trash can be treasure for somebody else. So it does help you form community. Mostly it is, since it's exchanging of goods, which is physical entities, most of the times Facebook Marketplace is active at a local level. Is that, I think that's what my understanding is. So it does help you build community, more tight knit local community for people living in like almost this demographic area, and helps you to basically interact not only in a digital world but also in a physical world through actual goods, right?
Right.
So I would say the mission of Facebook Marketplace is to people help people form community through exchanging goods in both digital and physical, right? So that's what I'm thinking is a high level goal of Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Okay, so if we talk about different users that we have, so let just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna write down different user personas that are. If you look at major personas that are involved in this process, one is that, of course, the sellers. We'll call people who are basically putting items to sell in marketplace. These will be people who are doing all the hard work to upload stuff to make sure and putting a price on an item. Second persona would be the buyers, people who are interested in buying something, and they'll come in, browse stuff, and then they'll buy stuff. Third would be Meta itself, because they are the ones who are facilitating this transaction both through messaging and through exchanging of goods and transaction of money. And then I think the fourth one would be, I'm just going to bucket them as facilitators, which will be either payment system where through which you're transacting money. Somebody's paying you, I don't know, through Venmo, PayPal, or Facebook. I think Facebook has a money product as well. So that could be a third facilitator. Second could be shipping ones like UPS, FedEx, where you're going to be using it to ship the actual products, right? So those will be the major players that will be involved in the marketplace. If I have to prioritize one, since we do not have data on this, what I am going to do is just my assumption is going to be, I'm going to be looking to prioritize the buyers, because they are the ones who are actually getting the ecosystem to run. They are the ones who are going to be actually paying money to help Facebook Marketplace being successful. If buyers are able to find things that they are looking for in Facebook Marketplace, that will motivate sellers to sell their stuff, and then will also cause them to come back again and again to put more things so that they can find more buyers, right? So at the end of the day, if you keep the buyer happy, then that would help this ecosystem probably grow and prosper more. Does that sound good to you?
I have one question. So I agree, if we focus on buyers, it will be good for the platform perspective. But if the people who are selling goods, who are selling products, right? If I'm not focusing on that, then buyers might drop also, right? So
That is true.
don't you think this is a producer and consumer problem, right? So one is consuming, one is producing. So both has to be healthy. But as a PM, if you want to prioritize one, don't you think, I'm just like asking questions. So if we want to, don't you think if we should focus on producers or people who are creating the things? Because if we do that, then they will be healthy like number on the consumer side. There will more people coming in, and they will see like there's more goods in the platform. We will not go to the competitors and all, right?
Right.
Don't you think we should go over there?
The way I think about a marketplace is how do you provide value through a marketplace? How do you think a marketplace, like if I have to think about one metric or one way where I see how do I provide a value to marketplace, is that I am able to do transactions. I can have a plethora of supply on my marketplace, and I can have the best user experience I need. At the end of the day, if nobody's buying it, transaction is not happening, then I think my product is potentially going to fail. So for me, even if a seller has less than optimal experience, but at the end of the day, they're able to sell stuff and get the money from the buyer, I think they'll be happier. Then we may make it easier for them to upload it, but then nobody buys it, right?
How will you calculate transactions on the platform? Like, how will you calculate whether a successful transaction has happened?
Yeah, that's, I mean, of course, there is a way of doing it right now on Facebook Marketplace, right? I'm not creating a new product at this point of time. I mean, either it's going through the Facebook ecosystem itself, where Facebook Pay or Meta Pay is being used to do the actual payments, where Meta can actually detect it. If it is not being done, it's not done through Meta Pay, let's say, assuming, then there is a way of looking into asking whether the seller has marked it as sold after a few days, or if there is enough number of interaction between the seller and buyers on the messaging side, where you could, from that data, understand, yes, it's getting close to a sale, right?
So Yeah, got understood. So okay, so I am convinced. So okay, coming back to the users, which user summarize if you can summarize
Yeah,
it.
so basically I'm gonna summarize that I'm gonna focus on buyers. The reason is the way you provide value to a marketplace is by doing number of by measuring the number of transactions that happen.
Okay.
And if you want to help in the number of transactions, then the marketplace becomes healthier, right? So that's why I want to focus on buyers. Okay.
Cool.
So now I'm just going to sub-segment these buyers. So just give me a few moments to see how can we sub-segment these buyers. So I have a few ways I could sub-segment these users, right? One would be the life stage they are in. It could be either students who are maybe college going or high school students that are looking for some stuff. It could be professionals, new professionals who potentially have maybe joined a new company and they've probably started living alone first time. They might need some stuff. Then the third type of people I could look into would be families. So people who just got married or they just had a kid, now they have new needs with new family members joining. So that could be there. And then the last one could be elderly, where they, because of the age and everything, they're probably looking for stuff that is going to be changing their lifestyle, right? So that could be one way to look into their which life stage they are. Other ways we could look into it in every stage. We could look into it why the motivation on why they are looking for why would they go to marketplace to buy stuff. As I pointed out a few things, right? Either they moved to a new college, or they moved to a new job, or they moved to a new city for new. So that's the reason how they're looking for new stuff. Second could be, yes, they have a new family member that has joined them. So either they got married or they got a kid, some reason for that. So that could be a new family member. Or the third thing, motivation could be as the life they're getting older, their needs are changing. So they're looking for stuff which is more convenient to their lifestyle, right? So like elder people are looking for like more comfortable stuff, or families or parents are looking for time management stuff like that. That could be one way to look into it. Another way to look, which is interesting, is maybe we could also look into the buying capacity of these users or people who are willing to buy, since it's a used marketplace. Is it like how much price point are people willing to spend on a particular item in the marketplace, right? So at a high level, I'm just looking into, not going into much deeper, but let's say something which is $100 or less, or something which is more than $100, right? It's like a psychological place. When you buy something used, you're probably looking into, right? Especially for an expensive item, you think two times whether or not I should buy something or not, right? So we could look into from price perspective as well on what it could be. So users who are in there for like a expensive item versus people who are there for like everyday cheaper items, right? So that makes sense for you?
That makes sense. Yes.
Okay. So what I am gonna do is, I think I am going to potentially, based on where Facebook is and the or Meta is, and the kind of people or user segments that they're trying to focus on, especially with the competition, I think focusing on professionals who are on the move, and they will probably need stuff for every price point, especially when they move to a new place. They're gonna first time potentially living by themselves. I think I'm gonna focus on that because this is like younger crowd, which Gen Z or millennials that Facebook is trying to target, and their need when they move to a new place, and especially when they start living by themselves the very first time, the needs are going to be much higher. And if Facebook Marketplace can help them bring help them kind of settle into that new place with help of everything else that Facebook knows about you, I think that could potentially be a great way of providing an impact to that particular user, right, from the need perspective. I feel like that could be a great way of looking into, from in terms of the number of people in that demographic, as well as the need that we could serve.
Okay, so basically you are prioritizing people who are moving to a new city more than others because the need, the unmet need, as well as the frequency of usage.
Yeah, and the number of people that we could potentially help as well.
Number of people that we can help. Okay.
Yeah, because new professionals, college students, people who just graduated from college, they are like in every year they're like in millions, and they're moving every year, and they're moving to new places every year.
Okay.
And even if they're not moving very far, they're definitely getting their own spot, even if they're moving to a different part of the town.
Right. Okay.
So there's a need. There's a need there. I think there's a numbers. There's a total addressable market, large market, and there's a big need.
Okay. Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just look into pain points of these people, and then we'll see what we could do. Solution that I have for people, new professionals who move to a new place, right? One is they might have a limited budget. They're moving first time. They're new students. Don't have too much money to spend. Yes, they'll make money eventually once they get busy with their jobs and everything. But when they're starting new, fresh, they might have limited budget, and potentially when they're moving to a place, they might be moving to a temporary arrangement before they get settled in and they understand how the things work, and so they're working on a limited budget and a temporary arrangement, pretty much, right? Second thing could be they may not know too many people where they're moving, right? So they have to go figure things out with strangers and go have to talk and figure out stuff. And if they can do that digitally, potentially through a secure place like Facebook, there might be an easier way for them that they don't have to approach too many strangers, right? So it becomes easier for them. And then third thing could be they may, even if they buy stuff, they might be living in some kind of a shared arrangement, especially early on, and they have to share stuff with someone, and that would mean that they just cannot afford to have something which is super expensive or very to their liking, and they maybe potentially cannot take care of it the way they would want to do it as if it is their own, right? So it is more in a shared environment, so there's a chance that things could be damaged or overused and stuff like that. So they need to be careful about that, right? So those are some of the pain points that they may have, the new professionals, right? So we have to look into again some of the things that, like, if I have to manage or if I have to worry about which pain point is more universal here, it could be and the first one that we need to meet. I think share stuff may or may not happen. I mean, people might have their own place. Some with Facebook being global now and everybody kind of connected in the world, being a stranger in a new place and not knowing people and reaching out to strangers may be now much less than it would have been pre-Facebook world, right? So that need might also be just met by the network effect of Facebook. But the pain point that I'm trying to focus on, which is more universal and is a bigger need, is especially when you move to a new place, when you're a new graduate, you have a limited budget, and you're on most of the times you just go in a temporary arrangement first before you figure things out what you like, and then you potentially move to a place of your liking in an area which you want, maybe close to your friends, close to your work, or wherever you like to, right? So you end up doing a temporary arrangement with a limited budget, right? So I think that's the pain point. That's the reason I want to focus on that pain point, but that feels like is a more universal one than other ones which are met by some of the other things that are available around the platform.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna look for some of the solutions that we could make. So just to keep moving in the with this keeping time in check, right? So some of the options or some of the solutions that I've come up with, right? We could potentially have some kind of a new entry point on Facebook Marketplace, especially when somebody changes their location on the Facebook profile, that they moved to a new place. We could detect that, and then when people go to Marketplace, we could give them some kind of a new entry point or pop up a new entry point where they say, okay, looks like you have moved and you might be looking for stuff, and then ask them some kind of questionnaire on where they moved and what kind of space do they have, what kind of things they are looking for, in within a budget and all that stuff, right? A few questions we could add like a questionnaire there, a simple questionnaire, and based on that, we could recommend certain items within a particular radius that they're comfortable in and within their range based on what they're really looking for, right? So that ways, this entire large view of marketplace gets very focused on the needs that they have so that they can quickly go in and select stuff that they need immediately rather than searching and doing stuff and going around and figuring it out, right? Making it easier, much easier for them to do, right? So we could potentially do that. Other thing we could potentially do it is we could do some kind of, once we know that they've moved and they've come to marketplace and they've started searching for stuff, so instead of asking them upfront, we could start doing some kind of AI recommendations to them, right? Because we know they're moved and we know they're searching for a bed. Maybe we can give them some recommendations for a table chair or a desk or a sofa, couch, TV stand, TV, all that stuff, right? That ways we build kind of a like a stream or a string of things that can be complementary products that they could look into and buy, right? Which could be there. Third thing, which can be more advanced, and that can be for stuff which is more expensive, could be that we could potentially build more kind of a AR solution or AR or VR solution with MetaQuest, if possible. If not, even without MetaQuest, where if we could enable users to buy stuff which is more expensive, and what we could potentially do is we could have them kind of overlay it or project it in the space that they're going to be living, so that they can see how whether or not it fits well, it will look nice, stuff like that, so they can get more comfortable with this and get used to buying it with more confidence that yes, what I'm buying, although it's a used and it's an expensive stuff, it is going to work well in my place. It's going to be nice, right? So that could be another solution that we could potentially look in, right? So if I have to now prioritize which one I could potentially do, I mean, in terms of effort and impact, right? I have to or cost and effort that we have to do. I feel like AR VR could be good, but it can come towards maybe later stages. Plus, we are not really sure, right, if people are on a limited budget and in a temporary arrangement, how much expensive stuff they're going to buy, especially if they have to haul it to the next place, right? So it's good. Maybe eventually they will get to it when they move to a final place where they want to live. Between AI recommendations and move options, I feel like they're both similar, but I would potentially start with the move options is going to be having a bit more user friction, and we're going to be having a bit of a cost to building this new product and then getting these people to enter a few points on like few entry points, and probably going to be more user friction. I'm leaning towards doing some AI recommendations because I already know a lot about this, and I can figure out based on their previous purchase history and where they're coming from, what is the best thing, and based on the AI recommendations, we could also detect their click behavior on which items they are clicking, and we could auto basically update our AI recommendations to give them an easier way to get to products that might be complementary and within their budget range and closer to where they're living, right? Because we already know that without asking. So this is the solution that I am recommending that we should build for people who are going to be moving, new professionals.
So basically, the solution that you're recommending is based upon the AI algorithm. The algorithm will be suggesting them items which they can buy. Correct?
Buy, yes, and then we keep updating it based on what they have. Right?
But this, I think, is already built up, right? It's not something new. That's what I can.
Yeah, but it's built up, but I am not really sure if it is built up for the kind of user that we are trying to target, right? Because there's a life event that has happened in their life, that they're moved to a new place, and they move to and their requirements are going to be a little bit different. So the algorithm will need to take care of that particular use case, where now they are in a new place and what they have bought before was in a completely different area.
So it's for that specific use case. Got it.
Yeah. So for this price point, and they're going to be probably looking to buy a lot more stuff than one-off So maybe we need to build some kind of a user experience on top of it where we show them all these complementary products in the new area. So it'll be more on the user experience side of things, that we will try to curate the entire requirements that they have in one view. But it'll be still in the back end, it'll be still AI for that use case. But yeah, we'll have to do some trickery on the UX part of it to make it that yes, you're adding like these 3, 4, 10 items in your cart, and that will basically fit your entire household need. Like because of your
makes sense. Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, we could go into metrics if we want to, but I mean, for sake of time, I'll just not jump into those. But we could look into like how many people use it, how many products have bought, all that stuff.
Right. Cool, man. So we can go to the feedback section.
Yes, please.
Anything from your side? How was it? Self-reflection.
I took a little bit more time, but I think at least I followed the structure that I told you I would follow, right? So at least I'm kind of happy with that. I don't know how the solution is, but at least I followed the structure. I was able to convince you on a few things, and probably could have done it 5 minutes faster than what I took. But
yeah, overall, I think structure was good. This is a standard structure that for product design everyone follows, so which is good. Yeah, I try to ask questions and try to know your thinking process. You were able to this was not the exact question that was asked to me in Meta, but they asked me questions at they basically they poke you at each and every state how you are prioritizing. So you prioritize on the user level, you prioritize on the on the pain point level, and you prioritize on the solution level, right? So they will definitely poke you at the user level. Think about your thinking process. So go after the bigger market. I think the buyer and creator, and I think the bigger market is a buyer because there's a lot more buyers than creators. Which is one part. So have those frameworks ready, like big market impact and stuff like that. Right. One other feedback is in the pain point. You mentioned universal is one of your prioritization metric. Come out with a better prioritization metric. Universal, I understand, but better might be impact, right? Frequency of having those pain points occurring in the life of those users, right? That kind of metric. I know you called that out, but just call that out as in
call it out explicitly. Thank you.
Yeah, and solutions. Yeah, AI. Maybe I don't know how I like any other better solutions from my angle, but I think the solution can be more innovative. That's what I can think of. AI ML based upon algorithms and suggestions for that particular user might not exist, but I would say maybe related to something metaverse because Facebook is into that culture, or
I did AR VR, right? But I deprioritized it.
AR VR kind of thing,
yeah. I deprioritized it. So.
Right. Other pain points might be like there's a lot of fraud that happens, right? So basically, you contact the seller and they're not actually selling something, but they're asking for the money, that kind of stuff. That is another pain point which I can think of. Yeah. So yeah, there's few other pain points which you could, if you think other pain points are if you go and get to the if you get the thing to your home and maybe it doesn't fit well in your wall and colors and stuff like that, size and all, that is another pain point which most of the time happens. There's solutions to that, like there's AR VR kind of thing right now, but still another pain point. Yeah, and also marketplace, clarify a lot about marketplace is not just, even I should clarify, but you should be proactive to clarify. Even you can rent places over there, you can find roommates, you can buy houses also, from small things to big things. So yeah, that is also good. Another thing is you talked about the mission, but I think you did not talk about the product goal, like whether we are focusing on engagement or adoption or monetization or whatever, which funnel we are. So what's the maturity level for, basically if you go into the metrics section, your North Star metric will be catered towards adoption or whether it will be towards engagement. Maybe engagement, right? Because it's other maturity. Just clarify that part as well. Watching this video, if you like it, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more kind of questions, it can be strategy, estimation, execution. Also let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.